let's try this again. Hopefully this is a little bit better. My goodness, you guys. I just for some reason cannot get my life in any semblance of order. I I have no idea what's going on with me. Oh Lord. Um yeah, for some reason my computer is really unhappy with streaming right now, which is weird, but we'll figure it out here. I'm gonna try to pull up the chat as we go. As we dive into this, the show is probably gonna be a little bit shorter tonight since it's already 10:20 and we're just now firing it up. So, plus Monday Night Football is on, and I recognize that everybody is probably wanting to watch some football. Watch the impending misery of a team that can give you hope and then destroy it over and over and over again. As I look here for my notes. Okay. I do think that there are a couple things that we should definitely probably consider talking about tonight, and I will leave this up to everybody else as we go. If I can get the freaking chat pulled up. As I was saying before, if you caught the couple minute first stream, my kids were an absolute nightmare tonight, which is why we are getting started an hour and a half later than we're supposed to be. But oh, hang on, guys. All right, I've got YouTube happy, I think. I'm having some internet speed issues for some ungodly reason. There we go. Okay. The world is out to get me sometimes. I'm determined to prove that. There we go. And Facebook. Julia says, if nothing else, we're all here drinking together, right? Right. I tell you what, there are some days, some weeks where it is frustrating doesn't begin to describe sometimes how I feel about all of this. Okay, I'm catching up on the Facebook chat here. Marco says hello. Hello, Marco. Julia says, I have the strangest feeling of deja vu. Yes, me too. My poor wife said she thought she had the boy asleep. Snuck in to take the blanket away, and he giggled. Of course. Oh, Lord, you guys. Why? Why can this just not be easy? That's what I want to know. There's a... Marco says, I just switched to just Facebook. There's a long delay versus Facebook. That's probably on my end. I have no idea what is happening with my setup right now. My computer is running like crazy. Let me make sure I've got everything shut here. Quitting everything I can think of to hopefully keep things happy. I'm sorry. This is extremely unprofessional. Imagine that. God, it is so frustrating. I need like a tech person that just sits here and just runs all of this for me, because for some reason I just can't. I'm running at 5 frames per second right now. So if I move really quickly, it's going to look terrible. And there are some weeks where it's just not meant to happen, you guys. And this is looking like it's one of those weeks. So frustrated. I don't know if I'm missing some kind of a setting that I changed for our big stream this weekend, but I don't know. Let's open a beer. I don't know if this sounds bad. I don't know if this looks bad. Julia says it's not a show, so it's not supposed to be professional. No, but it still drives me crazy. So I'm cracking open Sonder. This beer is named after the polka band from a 1990s Christmas movie, the Apple Struce Ale. You guys all know this beer, I'm assuming. This is, I've said this before, if I'm not a huge fan of cider, but if I was, this is what I would want cider to be. It's an apple beer. So good. I will let you guys kind of determine here where we go with this conversation. 2 big topics. I think you guys know where I'm going with at least one of them. Woodburn. So finally, March 1st, buys Woodburn. So Woodburn lives to fight another day. The story of Woodburn has been a very long one and a very frustrating one at times. And I'm absolutely thrilled to see that happening. Or we could go a different route, and you've got this hubbub, if we want to call it that, around Taft's. And what has been going on with that. Julia says, speaking of cider, it's 100% not cider, but the liquid IV hydration mixing apple pie flavor and warm water plus bourbon or Fireball is delicious. John is drinking Alpha Claws tonight. Jason says, after Saturday's podcast and yesterday's kegging day and sampling, I had to switch to Buffalo Trace. Yeah, so yesterday morning was definitely a little rough. Getting up, we did our live broadcast. I know if you guys were on the live stream. We'll get into what's going on with Taps. We did our live stream, started around 8. Went for almost 3 hours. I'd have to look at the exact time of how long it lasted, but and then kind of sat on our chat and had a couple more beers, just sitting around shooting the shit. So we wrapped that up, and then I cracked open another beer and went and sat upstairs because my kids were with my wife at her parents' house for the night. They were doing a sleepover there, so I had a free night, so I'm like, I'm not going to bed yet. I get the TV. I'm going to watch something. So I decided I was going to watch Die Hard. I haven't watched Die Hard in a long time, and it's I've been wanting to because Christmas. So I'd sat and I got through a chunk of that and then fell asleep on the couch. So I woke up about 4 a.m. in my recliner. And I first opened my eyes. I'm like, oh man, that's all right. I'm going to get up and go to bed. And started to shift to get upstairs, and just the immediate headache. I looked down, it was 4 a.m. I'm like, oh God, it's enough time still. I still need to go back to sleep. So drug myself upstairs to get into bed. Slept for, 4 more hours or so, and woke up in just absolute misery. It was rough. So I all day yesterday was a little bit rough. I I did not drink a beer yesterday, which was the first day in a long time that I have not cracked open a beer, especially with the beer event calendar going on. I pulled the beer, tossed it in the fridge, and told myself, well, maybe I'll drink it in the evening, and I didn't. So I opened the yesterday's today about noon. Got today's Pilsner, which was awesome. Got that in the fridge and then drank that a little bit later. So I'm caught back up on my calendar, but yeah, it was a rough day. All right. We'll talk about Woodburn in a minute. First I want to dive into this TAFs issue. If anybody has not been kind of following along and paying attention, TAFs, let me start by saying that I do not think that Sean says, just think if I had the Brewdog on the calendar and could have been a bandana, then I wouldn't have missed a day. Could have been a bandana or a non-alcoholic beer. Because it wasn't like I wasn't sick yesterday. It was the thought of beer wasn't disgusting to me. It was just the headache and just the my entire body ached. It was a rough hangover. It was different than I've had in a long time. But luckily, no, it was not sick, so I could have had a beer. It was a cool looking bandana, but well, we're getting off topic. TAFs. I do not think that the brewery was trying to be malicious by this, and I want that to be known off the bat. I think that this was just an absolute really stupid mistake that they made, that then immediately, instead of fixing it, they doubled down on, and that kind of made it blow up in their face. The summary of it is that this late spring, early summer, they put together a GoFundMe and did I guess is it a charity beer? Yeah, it was a charity beer because it was for their employees. A beer that all the proceeds were supposed to go to their employees. I'll read the original post here. This is what they posted on their Facebook page when they first launched the GoFundMe and stuff. It said, please consider donating to our incredible and talented staff. We're raising money to help our employees pay critical bills, buy groceries, secure medications, and get around town. All donations will go directly to our bartenders, servers, etc. at Taft's Ale House, Taft's Brewporium Cincinnati, and Taft's Brewporium Columbus. The Taft's team is made up of very hardworking, remarkable, and dedicated people. We know that this will be a tremendous hardship for them and are trying to do all we can to help them through this difficult time. We also acknowledge that this has impacted everyone and is hard for all, so we thank you for considering donating to our amazing staff. Absolutely beautiful, really well done. This is perfect for a business to do in a time like this. We had a mandatory shutdown. You have to send all your employees home. They're not making money. It's rough. So give away for your customers who love your business, love your staff. Let them have a way to help them. On top of that, the business made a beer where all of the proceeds went to the staff into this fund, this TAF's Love in the Tub Fund. So absolutely wonderfully done. However, no money went anywhere. Okay, so the shutdown happened. Nobody was getting paid at that time. Then everybody went back to work and things kind of returned to normal. But this fund still kind of sat there, and they were trying to figure out how to disperse it. In the meantime, some of these employees were not called back to work. Some of them still have never been back. Some of them were forced to look for jobs other places. The staff that was there when the shutdown happened is not all there now. We'll put it that way. So this email goes out this week from General Manager Witt, and all of my interactions with Whit have been great. I think he's a great guy. However, the email goes, "Hello, everyone. As you know, our company created Taft's Relief Fund to accrue money to help support our staff while we are in the grips of COVID-19. Throughout this difficult time, we have seen the top-line sales decline, a roller coaster of unpredictable changes in our dining experience, weeks of unemployment for hourly workers, and a temporary closure of Columbus location. We have also had to shut down for several days due to a positive COVID case. We were holding on to the sum of this fund to determine the best way to use the money we acquired from the Love in the Tub sales and our GoFundMe account. In November, we paid our employees to stay home while our locations were shut down for cleaning and testing of staff. We were not required to do this, but we felt it was the right thing to do. After much discussion, we have decided to use the Taft Relief Fund to help offset the labor we paid out during our shutdown. We hope you all understand that it cost the company much more than what we had in this fund to pay everyone to stay home and safe. Please direct any questions or comments to your general managers." So, they've got this fund, they shut down, and then people came back to work. There was another short shutdown, and in that time, they paid their employees to not be at work. They didn't have to do that, but they did. They then decided to use the fund to reimburse the company the money that they spent during that time. That's the mistake right there. Just that short little window. People called them out on it, very loudly called them out on it online, and their official response is, "Hi, so-and-so. Unfortunately, this was taken out of context. We did not misappropriate any funds. Management made the decision to match what was in both funds, GoFundMe and Love in the Tub. Our employees made more money than they would have directly out of the fund itself. We paid double what was originally gained from the two funds in an effort to give our staff all we possibly could. We care so much about Taft's team and have taken care of them the best possible way we can during this time." Yeah, so Sean says, not defending Taft's, but I've heard several places where there were people that chose not to come back because they were making more on unemployment. I agree with that. The Taft's was, and the Columbus location I think was shut down for a lot longer, or maybe it is still shut down, I don't know, than the Ale House and then the Brewporium down here. So that may be a little different situation, but the locations here, aside from the original shutdown, this shutdown in November, I think it was, when they're claiming that they're using the money to reimburse themselves for, was 3 days, maybe 3 days, something like that. So if you were scheduled to work in those days, they paid you. If not, you didn't get paid, obviously, because you weren't working. Somehow that is the expense that they are justifying using this money for. At the end of the day, we're not talking about a ton of money for a business their size. I think the GoFundMe was like $3,500, $3,600. You can probably double that for the Love in the Tub beer. So you're talking, definitely under $10,000, probably closer to $7,000. Is this money that we can't that they needed to reimburse themselves for? It's very strange. The whole thing is very strange. Why they've made this decision? They've made this kind of this hill that they are fighting on. It's odd. I think my personal opinion is you go back to when you made this announcement that you were doing this charity for your employees, and your employees at that time, you split the money up between them. If you've hired people since then, I don't think that counts. If people have left since then, I still think you get in touch with them and you send them a check, because people gave money to go towards something. People were getting on a GoFundMe. There were, employees that were having family members that were getting on this GoFundMe to send money as a way to help their loved ones and the people that their loved ones work with. The whole thing is just, it's messy. It's weird. doesn't look good on Taft's. I don't know. I'm hearing from, I'll say a few employees that are being very loud about their displeasure about it. I haven't heard anybody saying that they are fine with it, although you wouldn't, I guess, if you still are employed somewhere, you just keep your mouth shut. But I don't know. It is a very, very strange thing. Not something we've seen from one of our breweries before. I don't know. That'll be the end of, as an industry like this keeps growing, you're going to see stuff like this. All right. I think my iPad is charged enough to get this game on. Although that'll probably slow my internet down to a crawl to where the stream will suffer. So if everything crashes, I'm sorry, guys. All right. Game is back on. So curious what everybody's thought is with it. What's everybody's feelings is, are we being crazy about this, or is Taft's wrong? I don't know. I definitely think that Taft's there's not a lot of easy ways to pretend like Taft's is in the right about this. Oh goodness, I have no idea why my stuff is so janky tonight, guys. We can also talk about Woodburn. Woodburn has been a huge discussion in some Cincinnati beer circles in the last couple years, I guess, really. It's finally has a shot to be a real brewery again. I know that there were a lot of people involved with Woodburn along the whole way that were trying to keep it alive, and not to say that that was the right move for. I'm trying to be very political about this because there are people that I like that I think got in a really tough spot. We'll put it that way. Let me catch up on the comments here. It's all in the appearance. They lost it in the first email, and you can't go back from that. I think you could have. I still think you can. I think you can make up for it. When you send an email or put something on social media or say something to somebody that is wrong, and somebody calls you out on it, you immediately, you have to acknowledge first that you were wrong. Then you have to admit that you're wrong and apologize for it, and that isn't happening. So as soon as they can kind of admit that what they did was not right, then they can start figuring out a way to make up for it. But I think you can come back from it. It's just it takes a little bit of self-reflection. This is Marco. My comment the other day was just for beer Twitter and cancel culture to take a moment to breathe rather than decide to start a war and kill a brewery. I do agree with that a little bit. However, there's two sides to that. So I agree with that a little bit, especially in 2020. You have to put a lot of thought into being negative about a brewery. Everybody's hurting right now, and that's not very kind. So yes, I agree with that. On the flip side, if somebody is being bad, if somebody's doing something that's wrong, I do think that we always have a responsibility to call them out on that, to say that this is wrong, and to say that this is not what we want. This is not what Cincinnati beer is, and we are not necessarily okay with that. So, double-edged sword, I guess. I can see both sides. Julia says, I don't think Taft's meant any harm, but I agree with you that people were donating to a very specific cause and a way for that money to be used. And when it wasn't used in that way, people are understandably upset. I think there's more conversation than just went on behind closed doors that we'll never know, so I don't want to pass a lot of judgment. Yeah, I'd be really, really curious to hear some of the conversations that happened on the Taft side of things. Excited about Woodburn 2.0, but at the same time kind of worried that keeping the name may also keep the stigma, as misplaced as it may be with the future of the company. I know that they, and I see Jeff has a comment below that I can't see yet, I definitely go back and forth on if keeping the name is a good idea or not. I know they put a lot of thought into that, and I will be curious to see how people react. Jason says, I think it's an unfortunate PR and employee relationship stumble. In very unprecedented times, I don't know if there's a precedence out there for this. Maybe there's. I don't know of one that is similar to this. Jeff, who works for March 1st, says, Julia, we're working on some things to address the stigma. I think the market will be excited if we can execute on those plans. I agree 100%. I think there is a lot of people. The interesting thing about Woodburn is that there are so many people that are so desperate for Woodburn to live again, I guess. There are so many people that loved that tap room and loved kind of their relationship with it for lots of different reasons, that are ready to have that connection again. They're just people are kind of chomping at the bit to get back in there and to feel good about being back in there. I'm excited. I think it'll go well. There will be some people that refuse to, but it will be the very small minority of people. John's going to go drink some cider. I think that's a good idea. Julia said I never had a bad experience there myself, but the beginning of the end of the previous ownership stings more for plenty of other people who don't want to see a clean slate. I didn't have that direct sting, so I'm just excited for what you guys are going to be able to do with it. Chris says, hey, Gnome, Merry Christmas if I don't see you before. Merry Christmas. You probably won't see me before because I don't know that I'm going anywhere. Actually, that's not true. I have shopping that I have to finish. I have 2 people that I still have to get one thing each for. So I do have to go out tomorrow some point to shop. But I don't know that I'll do that shopping at March 1st. So Julia says, I want Woodburn to be successful. Don't want my comment to be misconstrued. I'm part of the group that is excited and not stuck in the past, what the name used to represent, if that makes sense. Yes. The thing is, I firmly believe that the name itself does not harbor the ill will. I think what is unique about Woodburn's situation versus some other breweries, not necessarily here in Cincinnati, but other breweries that have a bad stigma with them, is that the story is out there with all of the people who have the bad feelings about Woodburn. If you don't like Woodburn, you know exactly why you don't like Woodburn. And I think that finally having that word out there that is gone, and this new group is coming in and putting their spin on things, I think it's going to go a really long way for people. So I think we are going to see some really fun stuff out of there, and I can't wait to see the changes they make to the tap room and that experience. As a brewery that took over an existing brewery with a bad service and bad beer stigma, it doesn't go away with just a name change. Yes. The thing about Woodburn, though, that is unique is that, I mean, yes, there were definitely some beer changes, but I don't think the stigma was ever that the beer sucked. I don't think they ever had to fight that. Maybe service a little bit. There was some service issues, but all kind of related to some very identifiable things. So I don't know. I don't know. We will definitely see. Next year will be fun to watch. Well, we're at a half hour, and my stream quality is miserable, and I got to figure that out. And I'm gonna watch this game, and oh, wait till you see the cocktail menu I'm putting together. Oh, I'm excited about that. If you need some outside perspective, I will make sure that you're on the right track. Just give me a call, and we can definitely run through stuff, and I'll tell you if you're doing it right. Margot says no, it was not the beer. No, it was definitely not the beer. That's the thing. That's the thing that people are most excited about right now, is just being able to drink some of those beers that they loved. You guys do need to figure out the mug clubs. I think people are dusting off their mugs right now, getting excited to come back in, and there's a lot you guys have to figure out about this. It's exciting. It's really exciting. Yes. Merry Christmas, everybody. This week's episode of Cincy Brewcast is up. We drink a bunch of Christmas beer. I'm not 100% sure what next week is going to look like. I'm either going to be solo in studio, just talking about something kind of briefly, or we will probably just skip a week because of the holidays, but we'll see. Stay tuned. Oh, yes. Everybody's naming the beers that they love from Woodburn now. Salmon Shorts, Han Solo, the Cedar IPA I enjoyed. Of course, the chocolate mint stout. Some really great stuff. Didn't they do Hammer? They did do Hammer. Hammer was hard because it spanned kind of these two different sides of the business. That was one beer that suffered greatly, especially since they canned it right when all hell broke loose, and so then they were sending a bunch of old cans out into the market, so that was an issue. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. The new branding, I did throw the new logo in the article that's on my website. If you guys didn't get a chance to see that, I added it a little bit later, so get on there and see that. It's fun. I should probably write something just about that logo, some of the neat things about it. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Again, I'm sorry as I am half of the time about the quality of what's happening here. I hope it doesn't sound bad. I hope it looks okay. I'll fix it. I promise. I gotta get all this stuff under control here, guys. I apologize. Thank you very much. I don't know why my sound effects aren't working here. Lord. See, I just can't get anything together. All right, guys. Go watch some football. It's definitely going to be a game here at the very end. So hopefully we pull this out. We'll be back next week. Can't find my outro. There it is. One of these days I'll get it. So